This is a special presentation of the Conservative Hideout. It seems that the White House has taken it upon themselves to release a video, quote-unquote, debunking claims made against the single-payer plan.
The truth is that the president has been talking to the American people a lot about health insurance reform and what is at stake for them. So what happens is that because he's talking to the American people so much, there are people out there with a computer and a lot of free time, and they take a phrase here and there, they simply cherry pick and put it together and make it sound like he's saying something that he didn't really say.
So that's it? Simply some people have a lot of time on their hands? Well, here, let's take a look at a longer clip of President Obama.
The challenge is, how do we get the federal government to take care of its business? I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan. No reason why the United States of America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, spending 14% of its gross national product on health care, cannot provide basic health insurance to everybody. And that's what Jim's talking about when he says everybody in, nobody out. A single-payer health care plan, universal health care plan. That's what I'd like to see. But as all of you know, we may not get there immediately, because first we've got to take back the White House, and we've got to take back the Senate, and we've got to take back the House.
Well, now, how do you explain that? Everyone in, nobody out? That sounds a lot like single payer to me. Are you still going to persist in your claims that this is all taken out of context and people are selectively editing? In that case, why don't we hear from John Conyers?
You want single payer. President Obama does not. Why do you want it, and why doesn't Obama?
Well, I want it because it's the best plan, and I can remember when Obama agreed with me. I'm just guessing now because we haven't talked about it, but he wants it because of the Rahm Emanuel factor.
Are you going to say that those comments were taken out of context as well? Let's take a moment and hear from another member of Congress.
Next to me was a guy from the insurance company who then argued against the public health insurance option, saying it wouldn't let private insurance compete, that a public option will put the private insurance industry out of business and leave my single-payer friends, he was right. The man was right.
If you're going to insist that these comments are all taken out of context or selectively edited, why don't you explain them? Why don't you post the full speeches so everyone can see them? Here's some more from President Obama.
But I don't think we're going to be able to eliminate employer coverage immediately. There's going to be potentially some transition process. I can envision a decade out, or 15 years out, or 20 years out, where we've got a much more portable...
Eliminate employer insurance. What's the context for that? Unless it actually means to eliminate employer insurance. And what about this comment from Barney Frank?
Congressman, real quick, why is single payer off the table?
Apparently because we don't have the votes. I wish it weren't. I'm all for it. I'm a big sponsor.
You support single payer?
Oh, I've been a co-sponsor of single payer for a very long time.
Don't you think we should scratch everything and start anew with single payer?
No.
Why not?
Hi, how are you?
Why shouldn't we start with single payer new?
Oh, well, because we don't have the votes for it. I wish we did. I think if we get a good public option, it could lead to single payer, and that's the best way to reach single payer. Saying you'll do nothing until you get single payer is a sure way never to get it.
But single...
What kind of context is that? It seems pretty straightforward to me. Public option will lead to single payer. He said it himself. And what about these comments from Yale professor Jacob Hacker?
For single payer, and I said, well, it's not a Trojan horse, right? It's just right there. I'm telling you, we're going to get there. Over time, slowly, but we'll move away from reliance on employment-based health insurance, as we should, but we'll do it in a way that we're not going to frighten people into thinking they're going to lose their private insurance. We're going to give them a choice of public and private insurance when they're in the pool, and we're going to let them keep their private employment-based insurance if their employer continues to provide it. One of the virtues of it, though, is that you can at least make the claim that there's a competitive system between the public and private sectors.
Don't worry, we'll get there eventually. Why don't you explain what the actual context of that comment is, if you can? For that matter, why doesn't the White House post the full and complete comments on all of these clips? Wouldn't that be the transparent thing to do? In fact, I challenge them to do so, but I doubt they will. The full comments will prove the points made in this video. Instead, they'll just try to discredit any dissenters rather than discussing the facts. In spite of the White House's claims, the president did support single payer, but now supports quote-unquote public option. However, there are at least 2 members of Congress and a prominent professor from Yale that state that public option will lead to single payer, and they support that. The only disinformation out there is actually coming from the White House itself. It appears to me that the Democrats have a problem. Their premise here relies on a huge percentage of the American people being complete idiots. That's the only way their current smear campaign will work. But guess what? They are failing. More and more people are seeing through the lies, waking up, and speaking out against this blatant single-payer plan. This has been a special presentation from the Conservative Hideout. Let me guess, lots of people are going to report me to that special White House email address for quoting the president, quoting Barney Frank, quoting Jacob Hacker, quoting John Conyers. Thanks.